We're going to walk through some soft tissue stimulation here in this video, and my main tools will be a foam roller and a lacrosse ball. We talk about structural changes to the spine. Many times this leads to changes in the surrounding soft tissue that can become dysfunctional, and usually when things are dysfunctional they do not feel well. So running through these relatively quickly, I'll show you some things that you can do at home in between visits to help those areas of soft tissue. First was rolling the thoracic spine with a foam roller. Here we're working on the lats. This is an area that's usually fairly sensitive on most folks, as it was me here. Doing both sides, I would spend again a good 25 seconds on both sides in each of these routines here, both left and right when it applies. Next up is thoracic extension. So this is where we're not necessarily rolling, just letting gravity take our mid-back, our thoracic spine, over the foam roller in a few different places here. Definitely don't want to overdo it. Again, just let gravity do the majority of the work. Moving to the lower extremity, foam rolling the hamstrings. Usually not quite as tender on most folks. Anytime you do experience tenderness, I would spend extra time here. However, this area is extremely tender. This is known as the iliotibial band. It runs from the outside of the hip to the outside of the knee. Again, it takes a little dexterity to get to this area, but well worth it. It's on both sides, left to right, back to the hamstrings, and then to the IT band. Rocking back and forth, and then rolling over on one side. Now, once you've completed this, we're going to grab the lacrosse ball and begin working through using a little bit more of a pinpoint tool. We'll start with the rotator cuff. Also an area typically very sensitive, especially if you're a golfer, a tennis player, any type of swinging sport, or if you simply sit at a desk. This is an area that typically gets tight. When using the lacrosse ball, we're basically trapping the tissue and taking our joints. You can see I'm using my neck and my shoulder here to move that tissue. Typically very uncomfortable, as you can tell by my face. Again, here going back to the lats, really working that area, trapping that tissue and moving the arm until that tenderness tends to subside. And again, I would do 20 to 25 seconds on both sides, and then moving to pec minor. On both sides I would do, you can see me doing my left here. Again, an area that's extremely tight. If you have forward shoulders, do your best to roll this area, and then of course move the arm at the same time. And you can see how uncomfortable that is even on myself. Moving towards the lower extremity, here we're using the lacrosse ball to pinpoint the piriformis muscle and across the right leg, in this case over the left leg, creating that figure 4, raising your bottom up using your hands and using the lacrosse ball to work piriformis. Piriformis is a small muscle, but one that can become extremely tight, problematic in the glutes, can even cause sciatic issues. Now we're going to use it on the bottom of the feet. Lacrosse ball works great. They also make textured balls, which seem to work even better in this area, but really rolling the fascia on the bottom of the feet. The fascia runs from the bottom of the feet all the way to the base of the skull and connects really every part of the body to another part. And then last but not least, we're going to use the ball. You got to have a smaller wall here, but use the ball on top of the traps, the levator scapula. Again, you can see me moving my arm and my neck to get the best results possible, and then rolling around.